Hello and welcome to the Rope Break podcast with Dan and myself. And we're going to be discussing today the WWE draft that just happened on Monday and last Friday. So, initial thoughts?
I do you know what? I comment. I replied to your message and I just put meh because I feel like I don't particularly like that it was shit. Like what are you expecting? Like, it's a little bit kind of like we've all, if you've been watching WWE for years, you know how the draft works, and I think that people overhype and expect something massive to happen with it. And, was it boring? Yeah. Most people stayed where they were anyway. So the whole thing was kind of a little bit pointless, if you're asking me. You already know my thoughts on it. I think they should have capitalised on this current boom. And they're selling out every single week. They now don't have to advertise everything. They went through a stage of, if Rock was turning up on SmackDown or Taker or Cena, they had to announce it and ruin the surprise because they wanted people to tune in. But WWE's booming at the minute. They don't have to do that. So I would have loved them to capitalise on that and kind of just do free for all. Just say, we're not going to announce anything. We're not, that, like, as a wrestling fan, that's the most exciting thing. You're going to turn up to Raw and SmackDown, which they're selling us anyway. But you're going to turn up not knowing what wrestlers are going to be on it, what matches are going to be on it. The whole show is going to be a surprise. That's how it was when we was a kid. And I think people of our age and generation that have been, I've been watching it 27 years, give or take. You've been watching it 30 odd years. I feel like a lot of people think that it's like they expect it to be the same as it was when we were kids, and it's just not.
No, I think the internet put stop to that.
Yeah, social media definitely ruined that. I think look, things are going to get leaked, but there's no way that like the whole Raw is going to be leaked. If they didn't announce anything, there's going to be things where it's going to be a genuine surprise for people. And I remember being like 8 or 9 years old and Kane's music hit, and I go, "Oh, Kane's on Raw," because you didn't know. Like the point, like say Kane hadn't been on Raw for a couple of months; he was always on SmackDown, and then shows up on Raw. It's a surprise. That's just I'm not a massive fan of the brand split. Anyway, I know people say, yeah, but then it gives people opportunity, it gives people more TV. But then that's on WWE's management to plan it where they all get enough TV time regardless. What I would say is I do think moving forward they have to freshen it up. They have to do something different. I don't know what.
Yeah, there was no sort of shock value. Normally when they do a Raw, a draft, there's always been like a shock, some sort of shock, with people moving, or even like tag teams splitting up. But I think the last couple of times we've not had any of that. And I also didn't like that the champions were locked in already.
I didn't like that either. It also shocked me because would you not want Cody on Raw?
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked by that. I was expecting the Judgment Day to move over, but there were some that were sort of like, well, that's obvious. So you had the Pride, obviously, Montez Ford and all that, and then Bianca Belair on SmackDown. You kind of think, well, yeah, because they're a couple. And then when they drafted Candice and Indy to SmackDown, I said to my wife, I went, DIY are going to SmackDown, and they were, because they like keeping the others, the couples together, and it was just
As far as I'm aware, the only couple that they actually have on different brands is Tiffany Stratton and Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah.
He's on Kaiser's staying on Raw with Gunther, and obviously Tiffany's on SmackDown. But I was surprised because they do usually try and keep them together. But...
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised they didn't want to. It almost looked like they took a lot of the, I don't want to say, but sort of the middle, like the middle section, like all the top guys stayed where they were, and it was all the middle guys that sort of, well, I say moved, but there wasn't, like you're saying. I think on SmackDown there was only a few that moved. Nia Jax, I think, was a good move, and it was the same on Raw as well. I was actually quite surprised that there were only 4 picks from NXT, and out of the 4 that they picked, 3 of them went straight to Raw.
They have added more after the Raw.
Yeah.
Raw. I was a little bit annoyed that they moved Dijak off air, because I think people who watch NXT and also follow a lot of, if you follow wrestling on Twitter, you know how funny Dijak's been over these 6 months. Some of the tweets he's put out have been absolutely hysterical. I feel like him. If you're bored and you've got half an hour to kill, go on X. I call it Twitter still. I think most people still
do, don't they?
But I think go to either Drew McIntyre or Dijak.
Yeah.
You can guarantee within the last 12 hours, one of them will have tweeted something funny. I feel like both of them over the last few months have been doing really well on social media. Even posting stuff that's really funny.
It'd be interesting how they use Dijak going forward, because he came up before when he was part of Retribution or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
They didn't. Then he left, and they didn't really know how to use him. And he's obviously gone back to NXT. He's done really well. The last couple of matches he's had on NXT have been really good. So I hope when he comes up, they give him something, and he doesn't just get lost in the shuffle.
I mean, I when they brought him up last time in Retribution, they gave him a stupid name. And do you remember his name?
Was it Mace or something?
No, Mace was the black one.
T-Bar.
T-Bar. What? I mean, it was stupid.
Yeah.
That name's kind of got Vince McMahon written all over it. I think it's a proper Vince name, that. But I think his character's basically Terminator, in it. It's a Terminator kind of style.
Yeah,
he's character gimmick.
I just hope they, like I said, I just hope they use him and it doesn't just get, he doesn't start appearing on Main Event or something.
Do you know what I was hoping for, and we didn't get it? Do you remember when the last time they did the draft, they released Drake Maverick, and then he released that video where he was getting really emotional and really upset, and then he ended up having one last match, and Triple H came out and handed him a contract.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do something similar with Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes, I was a fan of in NXT, TNA, and I've got he won't find it hard to get another job. That's for sure.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. Yeah, I've always been a fan of Straight to the Moon and all of that. I think what happened was he was one of those guys that got brought up at the very end of McMahon, and you know what happened there. We had Keith Lee, he mucked about. We had all those guys that were brought up, Killian Cross as well, that were all brought up around the same time and then just completely fucked. And he was just one of those guys, and I think he sadly got lost in the shuffle, a bit like Shotzi has.
Yeah,
Shotzi's another one that's just lost in the shuffle.
Was you not expecting Triple H to use him better though? No, because we know how much Triple H liked in NXT.
Yeah. And considering what he done in NXT and how well he done,
I mean,
I was surprised.
I still talk to my ex Nat about it, and Bex hasn't seen it because she weren't watching wrestling when this happened. Me and you spoke about it numerous times since it's happened. The fact that me and you still, me and other people still mention the rivalry on NXT between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, all these years later shows how amazing that rivalry was. I mean,
Mm.
when they had the match for the $1 million title and
Yeah.
LA Knight won, and then because LA Knight won, Cameron Grimes had to be his butler. And remember every week,
Comedy.
you tune into NXT just to see what those two had come
Yeah.
up with. It was
It's
absolutely brilliant. It was so funny.
yeah. I don't think he won't have any trouble finding somewhere, whether that's AEW or TNA.
It's a good wrestler. Oh,
He's fantastic. I can see him doing what many have done and left, rebrand himself, and then come back.
Do you know what has like surprised me? Like just after Triple H like pretty much fully took over, about 12 months ago, Cameron Grimes had his SmackDown debut against Baron Corbin, and he beat him in about 7 seconds. Like he hit Corbin with the cave in, and he won the match after that 7 seconds. And I thought, you know, if they're gonna, when you do that, a bit like what they're doing with Bron Breakker at the minute. He's just obliterating anyone.
I'm wondering if they're. Have you been watching the Speed tournament on X or Twitter?
I've not. No, but I know that Ricochet's won the title.
Ricochet has won the Speed title. I love the concept because it's only 3-minute matches. You have to win within the 3 minutes, or it's a draw. And I absolutely love that concept. I'm wondering whether they're going to build something up with Braun Breaker, because the way he's going through people so quickly.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm not a fan of it. It's like, I look, I know a lot of people didn't really get him, but I weren't particularly bothered, but I was a little bit disappointed when they released Zion Quinn, because his first 12 months on NXT, he looked really good. Now, I remember following him in his rugby days. When he signed with WWE, I was even more like, I remembered watching him play rugby. So I was even more like, oh, no way, you know. And I followed him on NXT, and I always thought he looked really good. And then, you know, he was brought up to the main roster once a couple of months ago, and he's a big guy as well.
Yeah,
and they literally had ding, 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 Bron Breakker hit him with a spear, 1, 2, 3, over, and it's like, why are you burying other talents? I understand that you're trying to make Bron Breakker the new Brock Lesnar or Goldberg, this just wrecking machine that as soon as the match starts, bang, won it, game up. Like, I get it, but I don't mind it as much when, like, if you do it a couple of times with a jobber, someone who you have no idea who they are, but they are wrestlers. Do you know what I mean? When you brought in specific to just get annihilated.
Yeah.
But like, I've never been a fan of when you're doing it to actual talents that are good wrestlers themselves. So like Bron Breakker, over the last couple of months, he's done it to Zion Quinn. He's done it to someone else who's on NXT, but I can't remember who it was. He's done it to Cedric
Alexander.
Like, Cedric Alexander's a very, very good wrestler.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're burying other talents by having him.
I think they're building him up, but
don't get it.
Yeah, I think they're building him up for obviously something, but
I like him. I really like him. But you like, and every like a bit of me understands why they're doing it. I just don't like how it makes other wrestlers look. It makes that makes Cedric Alexander look like a bag of shit, and he's not.
It's a difficult one. I'm because they're building him up like this dominating thing. They've done it like with all the big sort of wrestlers as well. They've done it with Braun Strowman, which I've got to say, my man is back. And I've got to say as well, they've done it with Omar's as well, where they have like a local talent come out, and then what they do the following week is they'll have 2. So he'll beat 2 of them, and then the following week it'll be 3. And they sort of do this, and then it sort of dies out. I'm just hoping, because on NXT, Bron Breakker can actually wrestle. I mean, if you've never seen him before, and you kind of go, well, you know, you're getting Goldberg vibes from him. Comes out, bang, 1, 2, 3, done. But if you watch him on NXT, he can wrestle, which
He's
I
an
don't
amazing
think Goldberg
wrestler.
can
He's a
do.
brilliant-
But he's really good, and he
Just-
can pitch it out. So
Just off the top of the old dome, I mean, he's had some amazing matches against bloody Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, Corbin, Trick.
Yeah.
He had big matches against Tommaso
Tony.
Ciampa.
Tony D'Angelo, I think he fought a few times.
Yeah,
but he can
he's
wrestle.
had
Yeah,
amazing
he can have like 10-minute matches as well, which Goldberg can't have. So I don't see why you want to just showcase him being like a dominant force. So do other things with him.
Do you remember the tournament that they did months ago, where going into like the last 45 seconds of the match, Trick Williams had 0 points, and then he picked up like fucking 4 pinfalls in the last 45 seconds to win? That match was about 45 minutes long or an hour long, and Bron Breakker did the most work in that match, and it was an hour-long match. Like, the guy's brilliant, and I'm surprised that they put Bron on Raw and Corbin on SmackDown. I would have kept them on the same brand, just in case you might have rekindled that tag team. Or
I was surprised as well when they put Elios as well on Raw, because normally they put the new guys on SmackDown, because Braun Breaker actually signed for SmackDown not that long ago. He had a contract signing with them.
Yeah.
And that's normally what happens is you normally called up, you go to SmackDown, and then you go to Raw after you've been on SmackDown a while. So I was quite surprised when you had Valkyrie and Kiana James as well.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah. We both looked at each other, me and my wife, and went,
"What?
Really?" Okay.
Like, so Kiana, like, nothing against her, but Kiana James has been drafted over Roxanne Perez earlier than Lara Valkyria, over someone like a Sol Rucker, even someone like a Nikita Lyons. You know, someone who on the when you look at Nikita Lyons, she will do well on the main roster because she's big, powerful, strong. You know, there aren't that many women as big as her. Like,
I'm wondering whether they're going to use her gimmick, because her gimmick is she's like a businesswoman, isn't she? It has her handbag and stuff. So I'm wondering whether they're going to use that somehow.
I've not got anything against her, but as a personality, as a character, as a gimmick, in terms of experience, in terms of in-ring ability, in terms of ability on the mic, I could probably list 10 women wrestlers now who I'd have brought up over her. I was very, very shocked.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. And obviously Blair Davenport as well, she's phenomenal as well. She's going to SmackDown.
Yeah, I like that.
It'd be interesting to see. I personally think that SmackDown's got the better deal out of the women in total.
Yeah, maybe.
Because you've now got Nia Jax there as well, which is good. And Bayley's on her own. Damage Control got moved to Raw. Yeah. One of the other things I want to say as well is that they said the champions are fixed. So what happens to the women's tag team?
Well, that's the thing.
They weren't fit.
I mean, yeah. So, do you know, like, yeah, I don't know. I think,
and also, if you go to the WWE roster page, it shows you who is a free agent.
Yeah.
Omos, which I can't understand. You know, they got rid of. They released Jinder Mahal over Omos.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's whatever. But also listed on the free agents is Paul Logan.
Logan Paul, yeah.
Logan Paul. Yeah, I know. I'll call him the other way. I know. Logan Paul. But I was like, hang on a minute. He's US champion, so he's on SmackDown regardless. So I don't know why they've stuck him on. Also, there was a lot of people that weren't drafted. Obviously, they'll find a place eventually. But people like Nikki Cross and
look, I know that
Natty as well, Natalia. None of them were picked, and I was thinking. So I'm wondering whether the guys that weren't picked are they going to NXT?
No, Natalia went after Raw went off air. I think she went
Oh,
to
did
Raw.
she? Right, okay.
But like, yeah, I not like what's confused me a little bit is Dominic Mysterio's got a really serious elbow injury.
Yeah.
WWE want him to have surgery, and he's basically said no, I don't want to have surgery.
Well, I think he said he didn't need surgery, but he needs time off now.
So
recovery.
Apparently, what I was reading was might be true, might not. Is that WWE said, look, your safest bet in terms of your longevity in your career would be to have surgery, but it would mean you're having between 6 and 9 months off. And he was like, no.
Yeah.
So they were saying, well, if you don't have the surgery, you're probably still not going to be able to wrestle for probably at least 3 or 4 months. But they're going to keep him on TV. I like CM Punk has been injured with now. Remind me at the end of this to talk about CM Punk injury because some of them something feels off. Something feels off to me.
Yep.
Something feels off. But CM Punk has obviously been kept on TV a lot from his injury. Dom, WWE have already said that they're going to keep him on TV every week, even though he can't wrestle. Yeah, if his injury is a bit of a weird one. He's not having surgery, so they don't know how long. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months anyway. But they're keeping him on TV. Yet they've not kept Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins needs time off to recover and rest.
Yeah,
everything done, bloody hell. And obviously they've kept Rhea Ripley off TV, but they also haven't drafted Rhea to anyone.
No, that's what I mean.
But people go, yeah, but it's because she's injured, right?
Or
but
she's part of Judgment Day.
But she's going to be out for the same amount of time as Seth, and they have drafted Seth to Raw.
Yeah.
So it's not like they've not drafted her because she's injured. This is what I'm saying. The whole thing with the draft, for me, it was a bit of a mess. It was just a little bit chaotic and all over the place.
I remember we were watching it, and we watched the first pick on SmackDown, and I was like, no one moved. There was no shock move. And like I said, we've always had those shock moves in sort of most of the WWE drafts, and I just expecting there to be one, if you know what I mean. It was very lackluster. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. I put a comment on our Facebook group, and I feel like it's probably the best way of describing what they need to do moving forward. Drama. There needs to be more drama about it. There has to be more good TV. There needs to be drama with it rather than just and Raw selects Seth Rollins.
Well, they've done different things before. So originally, it was like the general managers they were picking. That was how the first 3 were originally done. Then they did a lottery, so people would the superstar would come out there, pick out a ball, and whether it was Raw or SmackDown, you'd go there. And then they went for a long time. They did 2 drafts, I think, where it was like random, where their picture would all flash up on the Titantron and then it would stop on one, and they would then move to Raw. SmackDown. I thought that was a bit weird. But the last couple they've done similar like this. I remember they've been doing the draft. You remember a bit like the NFL, where they had them all in the boardroom. You had the people from USA and people from Fox, and it was just, I just find it weird. I don't know whether it's just because we don't have that sort of thing over here.
Yeah,
see, in the US they have that with NFL, but we don't have that.
NFL.
We don't have that sort of thing. I suppose deadline day is probably transfer deadline day is probably the closest. Yeah. But I was looking at the roster thing, and I was like, I don't see Jay winning or beating. I don't see Priest dropping the title yet. No way. And then I was like, so where do they go after this? Who could then go for Damian Priest? I'm surprised. Do you know, Drew McIntyre actually brought this up. He was like, so I didn't get my automatic rematch, and I was in a fatal 4-way. So I'm wondering whether they're still going to try and push him for the world title or not.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if they're not going to give the title to Drew at Clash at the Castle in Scotland.
Yeah.
I'd be very, very surprised if they don't give him the belt in Scotland. Very, very surprised.
There was an interesting thing I saw actually on Twitter. I just want to go off course a little bit, talking about heel characters and that. But someone done a photo of Cody and went, "Why do I get heel vibes from him?" And I was like, someone said, "We're not ready yet, but trust me, we're gonna get heel Rhodes soon." I was like,
I feel like
"Oh,"
he needs it. Yeah,
I was like, "That would be quite good."
Yeah, I feel like he needs to. But he doesn't have to go full on heel. He can just kind of incorporate more of his heel character from, his independent days before AEW, and then stuff that he did in AEW as well. It can still be a fan favorite and have the fans cheer him, but it can still be a bit nastier and a bit edgier.
Yeah. I think Drew's going to get cheered when he's at Clash of the Castle. Even if he's playing a heel character, I think they're going to go nuts.
And I'm really glad that he's re-signed as well. And what a way for it to be announced that he's re-signed. The bloody Rock announcing that he's re-signed.
I think he signed ages ago. Do you know what I think? I think he signed a while ago, and they've just not announced it. And I think what happened was, I reckon I got a funny thing. He signed a while ago. And WWE had been in contact with people, and they've gone, "We have to announce it because people still don't think he's signed."
Yeah, well, the thing is his contract was due to expire in a few weeks. So I'm not. Do you know what though? I'm not sure. Maybe I think there is a chance that he signed a while ago, but there's also a chance that he didn't, because I do think Drew has been through a bit of a period of, do I want to stay here?
Do I still want to do this? Because I know he went through a really rough time when his mother passed away during COVID. He couldn't get back in time, and he sort of chose it. And
I think everything he's been through, like you said, losing his mum, and missing his brother's wedding and things like that, and
missing out on a crowd winning the title and all of that.
But I think all the sacrifices he's made, and I think people over in America don't understand how big the sacrifice is for British wrestlers.
Yeah,
because
you're leaving everything.
It's not like it. Look, America's that big. Like, them moving from one state to the next state's like moving country anyway, because it's so big. But you're literally moving halfway across the world.
Yeah.
You have to apply for a visa. And
different food, different culture. You're
leaving your entire family behind. Your best friends, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, your grandparents. And I think all the sacrifices he've made, you can't really blame him for going, I've made all these sacrifices, and what have they done with me? Because I think Drew McIntyre, over the last, do you know what's really interesting is apparently the beef between McIntyre and Punk is real, and McIntyre doesn't like him because he felt like Punk didn't help him years ago when Punk was there first round. But interesting.
I'm not too sure on that. I think that is kayfabe at its best. I'm pretty sure that they are. I wouldn't say pally, but I would say they probably rehearse a lot of stuff together.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that. I don't think they're pally, but
no, I think. Look, who knows now? Because of all the stuff they've done together, they might have actually buried the hatchet. They might actually get on really well now. But my point is, all the sacrifices Drew's made, you can't blame him for looking at WWE and going, "Have you utilized me where he feels like he should have been used?" And okay, they did give him the belt, beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but it's not WWE's fault. It was in front of no fans. But after that, they haven't used it. Like, Drew obviously sees himself right at the top, one of the top talents, and to be fair,
he should be.
You can't. Yeah, he is. He should be. But I feel like for a long time, WWE haven't viewed him as that. It's like I don't understand how Finn Balor is as happy as he is, because if I were Finn Balor, I'd be going, this is bullshit. And I know it's just like Finn Balor's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, I think he's just signed a multi-year deal, and he? It's like 10 years, yeah.
He's just signed a 10-year deal, so he's obviously happy. But
yeah,
no, it might look. I think he's 43, 44, so he is kind of getting on a bit now. But I find it utterly disgusting that a wrestler as good as him has only had one title reign and it lasted 23 hours.
Yeah, well, maybe I think Judgment Day are going to break up. There's a few little inklings coming in, with JD as well.
Yeah.
Also, as well, there was a moment on Raw this week where Liv Morgan comes out of a room, and then Dominic comes out straight after, and I was like, maybe something's happening there.
That's interesting. And also, I need to, before I forget, I need to mention this as well. They were doing a promo bit with Priest and I can't remember exactly who it was. It wasn't. I'm not sure, but it wasn't in like Judgment Day's locker room. It was just like in the middle of like a walkway backstage, and they very deliberately put the camera so it was like blocked out by. I think it was either Priest or McIntyre, blocked out by their head, and then at the last second it panned around and there was a figure of the Demon King's head on like the top of. Now we know WWE are doing a lot of these little Easter egg teaser things. I know they're doing a lot with obviously the
White Six.
The White Six, the Bo Dallas return and stuff. Obviously, apparently now Eric Rowan, there's rumors
just signed. Apparently, yeah.
And obviously Alexa
Strowman's just come back as well.
Alexa could potentially be back. Braun's now back. Matt Hardy said that he's not actually signed with TNA. He's just appearing as a free agent. And Matt Hardy has, a history with Bray. Him and Bray were tag team champions, I believe.
Yeah, they were.
So I would bring Matt in as the voice, because that's my main concern with Bo, is he's not got the personality or the charisma or the capability on the mic that Bray had. And I know Bo's going to try and lead it, but a lot of the in front of the camera and a lot of the talking stuff, that's where Matt would be incredible, because that's what he's always been great at. I know that I think all of us as Hardy Boys fans want both of them to basically retire in ring, because every time I watch them wrestle, I feel like I'm watching my heroes. I'm like, he's going to break his leg, he's going to break his hip, he's going to die. Like they look broken. Like, I mean, no pun intended. I know it's called Broken Matt Hardy, but he physically looks like his body's broken. Like he can't walk. He looks so much. Both of them look like they're in so much pain.
They've put themselves through a lot. I can't. Even the Dudley boys have sort of hanged it up.
Yeah,
I'm surprised the Dudleys haven't done the same. I'm surprised the Hardys, shall I say, haven't done the same.
If you think of when you think of that rivalry between Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys, it was the Hardy Boys that took a lot of the really nasty bumps, because both of them were fearless. What? It's 15 foot in the air. Yeah, I'll jump off it.
Yeah.
Like they would take a lot of the really, really bad bumps, which is why the body are broken. And before I forget, CM Punk, I don't know what you think. I'm unsure with this injury. I remember us doing one of these podcasts a few days after they'd done the WrestleMania press conference thing where Rock slapped Cody and Cody picked Roman, and when they'd done all that. Because at the start of that show, he's got a brace on his arm, and he's going, I'm 10 days out from surgery. I only had surgery 10 days ago, blah blah blah. And as he's talking, he's doing that with his hand. And I'm like, you had surgery 10 days ago, and that didn't feel right. And then there was a really good close up of behind his right arm as they were doing it, as they were getting into the ring. The camera, you could see like the back of his right arm. There's no scar there.
No,
I thought he had surgery to fix a torn tricep. Well, your triceps at the back here, so there should be a scar, and there's no scar.
We'll find out. Because
and the fact that they've kept him on. I don't know. Something just
They've
doesn't
kept him on
feel
TV, I
right.
think, to keep relevant. Also, as well, I would imagine the deal they've got is probably a lot of money, so they probably want to capitalise on
No, but
still being there.
do you know where I'm coming from though? Something doesn't
Yeah,
feel right about
yeah,
this injury. Something feels a bit like
yeah.
they're saying he's had surgery on a torn tricep. I think it's bullshit. I think it's something else.
There's
I've no idea.
yeah. There's two things I want to do just before we go.
Yeah.
Firstly, who do you think is going to be like the shining thing from the draft? Who do you think is going to, like, I don't know, benefit the best from the draft?
If he's used right, Dijak could surprise a few people.
For me, it's Ilios.
Ilya, yeah.
Dragunov. Yeah,
Ilya. I was just about to say, if he's used right, Dijak could surprise people who don't really know him.
Yeah.
I think my number one, I agree with you. I don't think people who've not watched NXT UK or NXT are going to go, who the fuck is this mental bastard? He's anyone who hasn't seen Ilya Dragunov versus Walter, now Gunther, we'll call Walter back then.
Or Pete Dunne.
Yeah, but it's specifically, I mentioned those two matches. Them two matches, one match of the year, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
It was like 2021 and 2022. Their match, one match of the year, both years. And they've only ever had two matches, and both of them one match of the year. They are just incredible. I think Ilya Dragunov is going to really shock a lot of people, and I'm going to throw a little wild card out there. I wouldn't even say I'm a massive fan of her, but sticking with the NXT theme, because I don't think there's anyone that was already on the main roster that I can, Ron and Mello are already on the main roster anyway. We know how
I saw that because everyone's like, "Oh, Carmella, like Mello's coming up," and I was like, "Hang on a minute, didn't he sign a contract with SmackDown not long ago?"
Like my missus was going, "Hey, that's a brilliant call from NXT, that Mello," and I went, "It was called up months ago." Like,
I'm sure he was called up before Bron Breakker.
I don't know, but obviously them two were already on the main roster anyway. With it, we know how incredible them two are. I wouldn't even say I'm a massive fan of her. I've not seen an awful lot of her, but I do think when you said before that you feel like SmackDown got the best deal in terms of the women, Lyra Valkyria on Raw could do some serious damage, because if she's actually given good opponents big matches, and don't forget she's already beat her mentor Becky Lynch once for the NXT title. Could she beat Becky Lynch again for the Raw women's title? And I don't think they've got a female wrestling talent like her on Raw, and I think she could surprise a lot of people. She could do really, really well. I'm biased. Like I've got Irish blood running through me, so anyone that's Irish, I'll always back. I
think Blair Davenport might be the sort of, if used properly, not sort of the Shotzi way, I would say, because I remember when Shotzi was called up, and then we both said it on this podcast. We went, "Why isn't she coming out with a tank? Why aren't they using that character?" And they sort of tried changing her. I think with Blair Davenport, she could be one of those like overlooked people that does really well, like really well.
Yeah, and you know, I almost get a kind of vibe with her that it might go down the same route that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn went, where they had one match and then it was like never to be seen again. Isla Dawn, I'm not really a massive fan of. I don't particularly think she's very good. Alba Fire
fantastic.
Was very, very good in NXT
and NXT UK. Yeah.
She was very, very good. But again, we just haven't seen it. Blair Davenport is one of them where I think her wrestling ability could pull her out of the shit, because a little bit like the way Ricochet and AJ Styles do, because AJ Styles isn't bad on the mic, but you wouldn't put AJ Styles as a great talker, as someone amazing with his promos. is decent enough where he can get by. And for me, his promos are very, very average. Ricochet just is never really given an opportunity to cut a promo, so we don't really know how good he is. But I think Blair Davenport she's got such a good in-ring IQ, and she's got, I mean, she's bloody Will Ospreay's ex-girlfriend, and they were training together for years. Yeah. So if she's learned a thing or two off Mr. Ospreay, she'll definitely. But I just, every time I see her try and talk on the mic, it's a bit boring and it's a bit forgettable, and you can't really be that.
She was like that. She was very good in ring, but like you're saying, on the mic in NXT UK, where she's done very well, she was, like you're saying, she was a bit blah on the mic, very good in ring. But I found in NXT, she wasn't used a lot in NXT. She was there, but she wasn't really. That's why I was a bit shocked when she was called up. Though she was called up after Raw went off.
Yeah.
I think she could be one of those ones that does very well.
Do you know who also I get? I think this is the perfect example because I know you really like her. I don't really have an opinion on her. I've seen her wrestle a lot, which is probably bad that I've kind of gone, I don't really care about her. Because I know you're a big fan of her, but it's the same with Indy Hartwell.
Yeah.
She's good in the ring, but there's nothing about her on the mic.
I'm hoping that with this... there was also something else that someone said. Not only Nikki Cross was not picked, neither was Dexter Lumis.
I don't think anyone knows what's going on because I've actually seen reports on Twitter where people are going, he was released a few months ago. And others no, we weren't. Well, he was. He was released, and but I don't think. And I'm a little bit frustrated with the whole Lumis thing. If he is still signed and he's still there and he's fit, fucking use him.
Use him, yeah. He's fucking awesome.
He's got something.
Yeah.
Do you know that thing where they just have that it? They have the it factor where mate, the way he crawls into the ring.
Yeah. The music as well is really good,
and it's just his music was creepy and intimidating. But the way he'd slither out under the ring, but when he get into the ring, it was like his back legs are paralysed. It's like he can't move his back legs.
Do you remember when he was in NXT? He didn't used to talk, and then he got married to Indy, and it was the first time we heard him speak.
I do, yeah. But again, I think if I feel the same with Candice as well. Candice isn't good enough at getting her personality over and her character over.
I think this heel move might work in their favour, both of them.
Do you know what? Out of the four of them, if you look at people who was involved in that NXT group, the way Indy Hartwell can't talk on the mic. Candice LeRae can't talk on the mic. Austin Theory still can't talk on the mic, which is why they stuck him with Grayson Waller because he can talk on the mic. Austin Theory is very, very good in the ring. I think he's got a bright future, but he can't talk. Gargano is one of the best in-ring wrestlers you'll ever see in your life. Can't really talk on the mic. The only one who's good on the mic is Ciampa. He's the only one out of the whole group. Lumis, we don't know. He never fucking speaks. I don't know if he can speak. Yeah. I know we can say. I've heard him say 2 words in fucking 10 years.
I do.
but it's a little bit like if they bring him back, they have to keep that theme though. Because do you remember when Aleister Black was still in WWE?
Yeah.
I mean, when I googled when the Royal Rumble was happening, I was googling AEW wrestlers because Beck's going, who do you think might leave AEW soon and protect whatever. And one of the ones that I googled was Aleister Black, and it said he's under contract till 2027, and I was just fuck's sake, because I mean his wife's obviously there, Zelina Vega's still there, but
Vega's there.
Remember, for what was it, 2 maybe 3 years, never spoke, and then the first time he ever spoke, he cut a 15-minute promo, and everyone was like, but it was very deep and very well thought out, very poetic in a dark way, but the way that he spoke was very elegant and very a bit like a poet or an author, just the way that he conducted his promo. It was it was like listening to, you know. But I do think that took away from his character. When he started talking, his character wasn't intimidating anymore.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to bring up as well, obviously, Backlash is this Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing for us in the UK because it means it starts at 6 o'clock in the evening on Saturday. So that's my Saturday evening sorted. I've looked at it and I've kind of gone, I've got a funny feeling this is going to be like No Way Out. You know, like in, you know, not No Way Out, so Elimination Chamber. You know, when it was down in Australia and we all went, you know what I mean? We just went, it was a bit mush.
Yeah.
I've got a funny feeling this is going to be like a Monday Night Raw, just a bit.
It always is. You go back through the archives. They're all there on the WWE Network. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Free plug. You're welcome. They're all there on the network. You find me a Backlash, because I think it has been called Backlash for a few years now.
Well, a long time, 2000, probably 2001.
It's always Backlash after
Mania, yeah,
and it's always shit. It's always shit because like there's never any surprises, because everyone that's people who've had the belts for a while that then that retained the title at Mania. They never lose the pay-per-view after a Backlash, because then people are going to go, well, why would you not give why would you make that to elevate someone on the grandest stage at Mania? So they never do it there. And then the worst side of it is people that have only just won the belt. So like Priest and Cody, they're not losing.
No,
they're not. No. They're not going to lose the belt.
No,
a month after they've just won them, it ain't happening. So you already know who's going to win every single match.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to drop any of the belts. Bayley's not going to, because she's only just got the belt. And I do you know what? It's one of those ones where I've looked at it and I've gone, is that it? And then you kind of look and you kind of go, man, it's not.
I did read something worrying though, and I don't even want to say it out loud, Kevin. I don't want to say it out loud, but I have read from quite a few different sources now that, like Wrestling Observer, and there's been like one or two others that have been tweeting that there is concerns that Cody is actually injured. That the last match that he had, where it looked like he landed awkwardly on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, that I saw the botch with Carmelo and Cody. Now, lots of people are saying whose fault was that. I looked at it, and it was both of their faults. If you watch it, Carmelo goes too soon, and if you watch it as well, Cody hesitates before he jumps. He sort of goes to jump, then stops, and then jumps again.
Yeah, he always does though, doesn't he? He always kind of hesitates on that middle rope.
I think what happened was he hesitated. He went like this. Carmelo went, and then he thought, shit, and he threw himself back and landed straight. It was an awkward land, straight on the top of his shoulder.
It did look bad, and to be fair, there has been people saying that there's talk backstage that it's actually quite a bad injury. Right. I mean, can you imagine? He's waited like 38 years for his story. Finally finishes his story, and then bloody destroys his shoulder.
Well, the thing is that he's finished his story. He could effectively drop the belt, and then you know what I mean.
It'd be shit on him. Like, to wait all that time, he needs to have it. I think
he needs to have a decent run at least.
Anything less than 9 months, I would say, is not long enough.
Yeah.
For the time that he's waited, and it's like if you're gonna kind of get a bit deep with it and say, his older brother Goldust was a very, very good wrestler, never won the big one. His dad's one of the biggest names wrestling's ever produced, never won it. And then obviously he's now the one to win it. If he has a short title reign that is a bit meaningless, it kind of takes away the whole point of the story to begin with.
Yeah,
I feel like to be honest, look. People are going, I'm bored of his reign already. Like, give it a chance. Like, give it a couple of months.
Yes, it's only a month out, so give it. You know, bloody hell.
Could you give him a better first opponent to defend against than AJ Styles.
Yeah, I'll be. Not only that, if he does drop the belt because he's injured, could you think of anyone better to hold it than AJ?
No, if he's
let's be honest.
Injured, if he's legitimately injured, then I think AJ it'd be really good. I think I want to see him in a right. I mean, Cody said that he wants to have a rivalry against Gunther, which would be interesting. I mean, Cody's on SmackDown, Gunther's on Raw, but he said that during this title reign, he wants to have a rivalry against Gunther. I mean, that'd be amazing. But
anything could happen.
He needs to have like a run against AJ. He has to have a rivalry against Randy just because of the history and the story, the whole legacy thing. They definitely have to have a match. I can see him defending against LA Knight. So what's going to go on now with like the Bloodline now, because like Cody's still on SmackDown, the Bloodline's still on SmackDown.
Well, apparently there's more members being added.
Jacob Fatu.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, mate. They just produce and produce. Lots of people said down the line they could see the Bloodline. It'll be like years ago when ECW was about, because you had ECW and the New Breed, and then the original ECW, and there was a big rivalry between them. I could see the same thing happening here. I could see the Bloodline versus the New Bloodline. It'd be interesting to see what happens, because Jimmy's out, so I don't.
Yeah, which explains
what's going on there.
Which explains why Jay versus Jimmy was a bit shit at Mania.
He was injured. He was
injured. Which
it's worth noting. Both of them came out and said actually that they were crap.
He's had a lot of injury problems. He's had a lot more injury problems than his
Jay.
He's had a lot more injuries than Jay.
He has,
he has had a lot of them. Hey, before we go as well, the last question from me, because I think it has to be mentioned, because I found it utterly disgusting, to be honest. What was your thoughts on Tony Khan's comments saying that AEW is like Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, fuck. Like, firstly, I know why he's done that, because it got people talking. But, you couldn't say anything fucking more worse, could you? No. I mean, the guys are tall. He's coming out more as a tool, even go further, and it's not helping the ratings. In fact, the more time he goes like this, the less ratings they get. But I can understand why he said it, because we're talking about it now. Loads of people brought it up, but I think it was a bit disgusting, really. I mean, you know what I mean?
I understand that he's trying to create a rivalry between his company and WWE.
Mate, they ain't even in the same fucking league.
No, I know, but like,
he's
not stupid. He knows that they're struggling to sell out arenas. He's struggling to sell tickets, struggling in the ratings and viewership, and so he's obviously trying to get more and more people tuning in. But I just like it's not that kind of. For me, it isn't the fact that he's compared WWE to one of the worst human beings that Earth has ever produced, in my opinion. It's why you're giving a horrible cretinous cunt like that anymore.
Well, the thing is, I
mean, this guy.
I'm surprised that Warner Brothers or TNA or TBS or whatever haven't said to him, Jesus, you know what I mean? Don't ever do that again. Or the WWE could even turn around and say it's libel.
Like I said, comparing WWE to that is like he's basically trying to disgrace WWE as badly as he can. Like, this has happened, for years. Bischoff did it when he was at WCW. Heyman did it at ECW. Like, we get it, but why are you giving someone like Harvey Weinstein any more like press? Say his name like this guy has probably raped hundreds and hundreds of women.
Yeah,
like we will never ever know how many women he sexually assaulted and raped.
I just don't know what. I mean, he said, we're like the Pepsi and they're like the one, and I was like, you could have just used we're like Coke and they're like Pepsi sort of thing. But no, he had to go down that stupid route. But I'm surprised. Did you actually see Pat McAfee talking about it in the thingy? He goes, "Have you seen this? You seen this fucking idiot talking?" And he goes, "If you're going to do it properly, stop, don't move like this," because they're all taking the piss out of him about it, because he turned up at the NFL draw with the neck brace on, and people were just ripping it out of him. But yeah, I think it was a low blow. You know, it was a low blow from them, and I don't think it's going to help him anyway. So
no. Well, it did. I mean, we're only a few weeks out from him, you know, leaking the footage that's going to prove Punk's a liar, and all it did is prove that
he was right.
Fucking idiot! Like,
yeah, and the ratings
I just don't. I don't understand after that. I don't understand his mentality. Like, I don't understand how he can go. Punk's just cut an interview and he's lied about the whole thing. Right, release the footage, and then all the footage shows is that he didn't lie about a fucking thing. Like, everything Punk said happened. We've now just seen that our own eyes happened. Like,
yeah,
all he's done is made Punk look better, and made himself look like a prick.
Yeah,
fucking idiot. Like, do you know what? Do you know what I'd do? Do you know what? If I was a high-ranking official in AEW, I would take that off him. I would confiscate.
Yeah. Loads of people have already said that loads of times.
Because he just some of the stuff that he's put out. I don't mind it if he wants to slag off, you know, WWE, do it. But think of a cleverer way and a better than mentioning someone's name who is a serial rapist.
Yeah. And especially what happened with Sammy Guevara as well.
Yeah.
And even though Sasha, the thing is, right, because obviously she's there now.
Yeah, I know. It's one of them. You know, I don't look. I'm gonna like kind of plead the fifth on this one, because I can't be a hypocrite, and I think because I've got a daughter, and I'm like very similar to you. I'm like I don't like, you know, even when it's not just like, it don't have to be as far as rape, even just like sexual harassment. When you see it in, you know, in the workplace and stuff, or, you know, someone like complete stranger or slap a woman's ass as what, it's like boundaries. You can't do, like, what the fuck are you doing? But, you know, I can't be a hypocrite, because a bit of me is like, Sammy Guevara should never have worked again. For him to say on live TV, Sasha Banks is that fit, she deserves to get raped. I mean,
not only that, I'm surprised he's still there, considering other people have done lesser stuff and have been cancelled by.
But all everyone said was, and again, I agree with to an extent, it was like 19. And 19-year-old boys say stupid. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I didn't say anything that bad at 19 years old, but I'm pretty sure if you went back 12 years ago to when I was 19, I'm sure there was stuff that I said that were fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So it's a
I just don't know about that whole situation. It's all just a bit. It hasn't helped. It's not going to make me turn. The thing is, I think he done it so people could turn in. I'm not turning into AEW because that's what he said. In fact, it would probably make me turn off, to be fair.
Yeah.
So, look, we're going to leave it there. It's been great as well. We're going to come back next week and talk about what happened at Backlash. But we don't think it's going to be it's not going to be a game changer. That's for sure.
No.
But yeah, we're just going to leave it there. So as always, thanks for joining us. Make sure to click like, subscribe. I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. See you next time, guys.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Take it easy.